You need to know every single level of how they do their business. You need to understand how they acquire customers in 5 or 6 different ways. You need to understand what their quoting process is like. You need to understand everything.
Beyond your paycheck, it's surges of cash that you can use to grow your net worth and feed your investments.
You need to understand exactly what they say to customers when they're trying to make a sales pitch. Because there's no other way for you to really speak their language. And if you don't speak their language, they don't look at you as a peer. If they don't look at you as a peer, you lose all positioning and authority in a sales conversation. And I know not everybody's in sales, but it does mean a lot. Like when we're in sales, we instantly make sure they know, I speak your language, I'm at your level. The conversation's so much different, so different. And without posturing, you don't have to posture to do that, right? But it's a really quick thing you can do. What we do is we ask questions that are extremely intelligent that only someone in their industry would know to ask. That's the way you speak someone's language, right? So if I was talking to somebody in the roofing business, a contractor, I would ask them specifically if they have issues, like the rest of my clients, with the fact that a lot of their accounts receivable coming from insurance companies, making them have to float payroll, and have they looked into the different AR insurance policies and where you can get advances on that. There's no way for me to know that unless I speak their language. Instantly, they respect me. They're like, wow, this guy gets me. And then we can have an intelligent conversation about the problems. That's the biggest problem a roofing company has, by the way. Did you guys know that? That just like a dermatologist, they have it's called AR rich. They have so much accounts receivable coming in, but the insurance companies are controlling their cash flow. That's one of the biggest problems dermatologists and roofers have is they have to float payroll. And a lot of times they over leverage themselves. Now they're paying 30 to 40% interest rate on the pay that they paid their people last month. And it's crushing their business. I know a guy who goes out and acquires his business using that angle. It's crazy, right? But how do you learn how to have a conversation like that when you don't even know their language? You don't know their business model. You don't know the problems they face. You haven't asked the problems they face, right? So I think a professional in business, marketing, sales learns how to speak the language of their perfect prospect, right? You need to be the authority. Could you teach a continuing education class in your field? So say you go after spray foam insulation. Your goal is to know much about that where you could be the CE instructor. It's pretty interesting. My dad was the #1 salesperson in the history of a Fortune 100 company. #1 ever. He passed away. They had an entire weekend devoted to him in Cleveland, Ohio. He worked for Sherwin-Williams Company. He beat his quota by 6x, 26 straight years. Dad, he kept moving. Architectural coatings. He was over maritime. He was over the entire Caribbean. He was over homeowners sales for the entire nation. And everything he did, he studied and he became the CE instructor the moment he got into that new role. And then he was the supreme authority. He was the smartest guy in the room. He was the one that had the magnet. He never had to prospect. Everyone came to him because he decided to take this approach, right?
Please consider watching my Surges of Income video where I explain it in detail. You can click this button here and get to the video. Also, if you have some questions, you have some comments, please let me know. I want to hear from you. Do you want to be mentored live by me on my podcast? Let me know in the comments below. Watch that video on Surges of Income, and I will see you in the next video.